In this video, I would like to demonstrate reuse of an R script. So I'm going to take an R script that already exists. Um, it is an R script for fitting some data to a linear model, a straight line, and making the plot and labeling the axes and so on. And I just want to take that, and then I have like a different set of data, but I want to sort of reuse the script I have rather than sort of recreate it from scratch, sort of just change what I need to change. So that's the most important thing, is to have a script that's very like what you already have. So, if you want to make a pie chart, and by reusing a script, it should be a script that makes a pie chart. This is a script that makes an XY scatter plot and with a linear fit. And if it were polynomial fit or power law fit, again, sort of get it as close as possible to what you want to do. So you should be adapting a script that is almost has the same process, just sort of pretty much just different data. So here is the script. I'm not going to talk about much now, but so it plotted the price of gas versus the price of oil, fitted to a straight line. Okay. So now I'm going to have different data. So, and this was set up to be in downloads R script. So that shows up here that I'm reading the file locally. So one thing I can do is when I can keep this folder, just save this, move the data that I'm going to work with into the same folder, and save the script over to a new version of the script and put it in this folder. That's sort of one way to sort of keep things simple and have one less thing to sort of retype. So here's my data, a Nobel gas. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to move it into this script. Okay, so now I have a second data file in this folder. I've set the working directory to that folder, and I don't have to change that line because the data is in the same place. Or I could change, keep the command and change the location, but one less thing to retype. And so I'm going to save this file again in the script, but this is going to be about noble gas. So instead of oil gas, I'll say noble gas .r. Okay, so the set directory I don't have to change. The file name is changing, so I'm going to come out here and rename the file. I have my extensions showing. If you don't have your file extension showing, remember that you need them, but I have them showing. So now I've changed the data. I have it called oil gas. Maybe let me change it to noble gas, and that's going to appear throughout. So now that I've changed that, here's noble gas. Here's noble gas. I'm going to, I'll change that much down here. Again, sort of figure out what you have to change. And I could do some global replace, but I'm just sort of finding the places where it has it and replacing it. And then after that, it starts to pick up the fit rather than the data itself. Okay. And what else? So this was the directory. I made it the same, read into a different data file. Okay. Now here I am renaming the files. You don't absolutely have to rename the fields of the file, but I like to, it simplifies things later on, so you don't have long, obnoxious names, whatever happened to be in the file. But here's one thing, a place where you have to be careful. So I did this on purpose. I made it purposely hard on this one. This has three things: the atomic number, the atomic radius, and the name of an element. And so when you're changing the names of the fields, you have over on this side this little vector, this little C starts a vector, and there were three things. The old data had two things, but this one had three. So there was the name, the atomic number, and a third one, the atomic radii, I think it was. Okay, so let me clear out these, clear out the image, sweep out the console down there, and I've changed pretty thoroughly, I hope. Let me save that. This first one. So there is my Nobel gas read in, and I renamed the fields, and head just gives me the first few. And there's only a few pieces of data in here, so it's actually giving me all the data. But in general, head just gives me the first ones. Okay. Now I'm making the plot. I can make the plot in two ways. So I'm just showing you I can either do x comma y or y tilde x. So this is redundant. I've plotted sort of twice. So let me get rid of the second one just by making it all just comment, putting hashtags or pounds in front. But let's update this one. So now I'm doing the x comma y. So I want the atomic number on the x and the atomic radii on the y. So if I'm doing x comma y, I want atomic number here. I'm going to take out up to and including the dollar sign, and then type the dollar sign. And now I have had to have run this previously, and I have. So, but it gives me this hint, atomic number. And I can come up here, again, type the dollar sign, and it gives me this sort of typing help, so I accept it. Now, what's the main title? So the main title is now Nobel gas data or something like that. And what was the x-axis? That was the atomic number. And not atomic, but atomic. And the y-axis label was the atomic radii or something like that. And I think that was in picometers or something. Okay. I don't have to adapt. This one is just commented out, so I don't really have to adapt it. So let me run that, which I like to sort of run all the little bits as I go. So let's run it up there. Okay, so there is that plot. Okay. What comes next? I want the linear model. And so it's the linear model of, again, it's this was the x. And when you're doing the tilde, it's y tilde x. So the x goes when you're using the tilde second. And I want to copy and then paste. And over here, the y, copy and paste. And I'm going to call it, just because I don't want to call it OG, I'm going to call it Noble Fit. And then Noble Fit. And I'm not going to run them all, but let me just, everywhere you see it, let me change it. And there are a bunch of places. Okay. So I think I made all the changes I wanted to make in 23, 24, and 27. It's Nobel gas, dollar sign atomic radii, Nobel gas atomic number, dollar sign atomic number, give me the summary, and then make the AB line. So there was the linear model doesn't do anything. The summary puts the information down in the console, and I like having the information down in the console because there are things below that I have to match what appears in the summary. And the AB line, goes through the data. If an AB line doesn't give you an error message, but doesn't seem to be on the graph or doesn't seem to go through the data, then you might have an XY problem. That's the standard error when AB line goes awry. Okay, so now I'm getting the slope. So I'm getting the slope from Nobel fit, and then I have these coefficients. And the one coefficient is the intercept, and that's always for a straight line. It's always intercept. So this line, 31, is not going to change, but line 30 is going to change because the slope comes from this other one, and that depends on the data and the field name. So I'm going to put in the data and the field name here. And then I'm going to run them. I'm going to get the slope and the intercept. And so I have the slope and intercept values. Okay. And now the next thing I want to do is over here in this environment, it's showing me not too many decimal places. But if I jump down and say, if I jump down without doing this rounding 34 and 35, let me run 38 and show you what happens. If I run 38, and it's just generically slope and intercept, so I don't have anything to change here, it gives me way too many decimal places. So now I've got to decide that I'd like to round. In my original one, I rounded to 3 places. I can decide now, maybe I only want to round to 2 places. Maybe I want 1.08, and that's enough. So I can say I'm going to stick to my 3 places, or that may be something that I adapt. So let me make it 2, just to say that is a thing that you may change or may not change. So I'm going to do the rounding and then make the fit equation. And now my fit equation is rounded to 2 decimal places. And I can round the slope to 3 decimal places and the intercept to 2 decimal places. I can mix and match. Okay. And then finally, I have this fit equation and I want to put it onto my graph. And there's an X and a Y and then the fit equation. So where do I want to place it? I seem to have the most room down here. And this is sort of the middle, the X middle, I'm going to say is, I don't know, 60. Not too much different than what it was before. And then the Y is very different. I want it to be here around maybe 50, between 40 and 60. And then let's run that. And there's my displayed equation. And so I've adapted the script. That's what I wanted to do, to reuse the script. So I've had other videos where I tell you how to make this graphic or how to make this script in the first place, but this was about reusing it. I started with this existing script about oil, gas, and I've just turned it into a script about Nobel gas because the steps were the same. We wanted to plot the data, label, give it a title, label the axes, get the linear model, add the line, make the model, extract the slope and intercept, make the display equation, put it on the graph. All the steps are the same. It's just different data, different field names, and different, say, positioning, different X's and Y's. So that's what I wanted to show you, what I'm going to just call reuse. Thanks for your attention.